At school, the child's interacting with other children. They're interacting with activities at school, not sitting by themselves. Eye contact's better. Speech has increased, more words with speech, and et cetera, et cetera. This video has already gone 16 minutes. I don't want to keep going, but you could just see wrong prescription, very little changes or no changes at all. That was carcinosin that we gave this child. Thuya, reevaluating the case, given another medicine that better fits the case, you see drastic changes. Good morning, everyone. This is a second video I wanted to post today. This is a case that's been sitting on my desk for 3 weeks that I want to share with you guys, but very good results with this little girl. This is a child that I'm going to share with you, okay, before and after what parents have told me. Now, it was interesting. These parents that got a hold of me, we have a handful of parents that are medical professionals, you know, so this parent, and we have many that are pharmacists. So this one of the parents was actually a pharmacist, and they reached out to me for their child, this little girl, 3-year-old little girl. Main complaints were autism, speech delays, developmental delays, a lot of the similar things we always see, right? Like I always say with all the cases. So this case has seen good results, and I want to show you what happens. Now, this case took a little bit longer. This wasn't a one-day case. This wasn't a week case. We went through a couple of prescriptions, and as we got more clear information, as we seen the reaction of this child to certain medicines, we got closer and closer with each subsequent selection of medicine till we hit a very good medicine so far for this child. And you got to remember, these kids on the spectrum, it's a process. It's not like one medicine, everything's gone and everything's done, and the child's 100% and all the issues are addressed, and the child could, you know, speak and comprehend and everything. It doesn't work like that. It's usually a process, right? So over the course of weeks and months, the child gets better and better and better and better as we adjust medicines, as we change medicines, as the child improves. And these results are long-term and permanent. That's the best thing about homeopathic medicine. So let's go through this case. Like I said, 3.5-year-old little girl, speech delays and autism. Now I'm just going to read kind of what the parents said to me. So speech, what did they say to me? Not very much speech. She says some words. She used to sing full songs. She used to count. She used to repeat what mom and dad would say. Now she won't count anymore. But she still has 50 words now, they said. Once in a while will not communicate. She'll take their hand and pull them to where she wants to go. So a lot of these children, they have a lot of words, just they don't use them actively. You know what I mean? They know them, they can repeat them when the parents say them or when they're reading through books or whatever with the parents, but they don't actively use them. And this was the case here also with this little girl. She will not say when she wants something, so she doesn't come and ask, okay? Her expression is lacking. She's unable to express herself, they said. She has this sensory issue where any object she has, the parents told me, she rubs it against her lips or the edges of her mouth. The remote controls, bottles, toys, a lot of things like this, okay? Now, many children, they have this type of stimming, and it's very common, and it leads us to certain homeopathic medicines that will help with the entirety of the case, not just with the stimming itself, but you'll see the child unlock. They're more aware of their surroundings. They cue in when parents call them, like they're aware. Their speech a lot of times improves, and you'll see this type of stimming improve. But rocking, so you'll see children, they rock back and forth, almost like parents describe it like a dinosaur, kind of like a waddle, where they rock from foot to foot. Some children, and this child was like this also, they need to be rocked when they sleep. Still, I mean, when it's an infant, that's normal, right? That's more typical, a typical thing. But as the child's older, 3, 4, 5 years old, they still need this aggressive rocking, whether you physically have to move them or whether they do it on their own, this rocking motion. And it leads us to a handful of medicines that have that characteristic, and that helps, when we give that medicine, it helps with the whole case of autism. But this child had that. The parents described this to me, this rocking back and forth. The child to sleep, a lot of times the parents would actually get the pillow and move it back and forth when the child was trying to sleep. And this was the only way the child would sleep many times, okay? So that was very unique in this case. We always look, what is unique in this case of this child with autism that really stands out from the other 9 cases of autism I've seen. Speech delays are going to be common. Comprehension is going to be a common issue. Lack of response or focusing when someone's talking to them is a common problem. So they're not very useful symptoms to help us find the medicine that's going to help all those things. It's more the strange, rare, and peculiar symptoms of that child that makes that child's case unique. This was one of those things in this case, this rocking, how it was so exaggerated, how the child needed it, even at 4 years old, the rocking. So that led to our medicine prescription, actually. That was one of the things, and I'll tell you the other thing after. So they told me about that. The child had a little bit of eczema. The child grinds their teeth. They grind their teeth when they're excited and also when they get frustrated. Not every day, but 3 to 4 times a week. The parents told me grinding the teeth with children is very, very common in autism. It leads us to a handful of medicines, depending on when they do it, depending on what circumstances they do it, depending if it's when it's sleeping, awake, angry, if they're doing anything else at the same time when grinding teeth. These little things point us in different directions for medicines that will help that symptom, but also help the rest of the case. So, what else did they tell me? So the mother told me that at school, this child does not really interact with other children. And as sad as it is, that's very, very common. We hear that a lot. Sometimes they'll smile, but they're not interested. They want to be in their own little world. They want to be alone in a corner. They want to sit on a bench by themselves. They do not want to interact with their peers at school. That was a big problem. Eye contact. Dad said she'll look at you for a couple minutes. If mom calls her, she'll respond. But you have to call her 2 or 3 times. That's only if mom or dad calls her. Any other strangers or anybody else besides mom and dad, they have to call multiple times, 5, 6, 7 times, the parents told me, okay. Now they've seen another homeopath. There was a tiny bit of improvements, but then the medicine stopped working. So it wasn't a good selection, but they told me that. Now, they told me, I asked, how's her personality? Describe her personality to me, because personality plays a big part of medicine selection. Not that you're trying to change your personality, but if there is something that stands out as being unbalanced one way or another, like the child's always irritable, always angry, always aggressive, or extremely shy, crying at every little thing, hiding behind the mom and dad, or hiding behind furniture. These are not a balanced personality, and they're indicators for certain medicines that help with the autism. So everything is a piece of a puzzle when we're treating a case of autism, when we're looking for what makes this child with autism unique compared to the other cases. So this child, they told me, they said she's always irritable and we don't know why. Dad thinks it's because she can't communicate or they're not understanding what she's communicating. And that may be right. We don't know, but we have to go with what we see. And we know this child's super irritable. So we look for a medicine that's known to help autism, but that the personality type tends to be very irritable in that person. Okay, so these are keys. And I said, so explain this to me. They said, well, it'll last 5 minutes. She'll cry, she'll scream. She'll hit the floor with her hands. She'll stomp her feet. It happens at least 2 to 3 times a day, the parents are telling me, when she does not do what you want her to do, okay? She is angry, Dad says. When she does not get something, she will get very angry. Now, this is a normal behavior for most children, but this was an extreme case of it, okay? I'm not saying kids don't get angry when they don't get what they want. Yes, but there is what is a normal, I shouldn't say normal, what's a typical reaction, and what is an extreme, more extreme reaction where like that quality identifies that child. You know that it's something that can be helped and needs to be balanced. And that's it. So that's what they said about the personality. Again, I mention this all the time. 18 months, child changed, regressed. This child wasn't born like this, regressed. The father's a pharmacist. And like I said, we have a handful of medical professions that come to see us for help with their kids, but many of them are very well aware of when their child changes. And this child, as the father told me, changed after vaccinations, unfortunately. We asked about family history. That plays a part in selection. We talked about that. The appetite we talked about. There wasn't much more here. That was pretty much it, okay? So that was pretty much the case. We took the case, we analyzed the case, I prescribed the medicine. First medicine prescription was called carcinosin. It was in a 1 amp potency, and we gave a single dose of this. A lot of times with the very high strength homeopathic medicine, we give 1 dose of the medicine. And like I said, because it's a stimulus, it's not like a vitamin where it only has a 24-hour action and it's temporary. Homeopathy is a stimulus to create a permanent healing response. It's like spark to gasoline. So we give 1 dose of the medicine and we watch the chain reaction happen over the course of 5, 7, 10 days and see what evolves in that child, because things will change if it's the right medicine. So we gave 1 dose of this. We had our first follow-up. Now this prescription was not a great prescription. We got all the information we can, we prescribed, it seemed to fit, and we only had a tiny bit of changes, not enough to warrant staying with this medicine and keep using it. But basically the only changes we've seen, they said she's going to the bathroom 3 times a day. It's a little bit better. The rocking back and forth is the same. The mood and the tantrums and yelling and stomping is exactly the same. No new words, no new understanding, no new mingling with peers at school, nothing. The only thing they told me that the stool was a little bit more frequent, but she'll sit a little bit longer now, okay? So maybe the child was a tiny bit calmer. This is what we noticed in 7 days. I think it was a 9-day follow-up or 7-day follow-up. That's what you see when the prescription is not perfect. And it takes time to figure out what a good medicine is based off the symptoms we get from the parent, based off how observant the parents are, based how we can match a medicine. There's many different factors that determine this. So that happened. And that was it. So that was that prescription. We weren't happy with that prescription. We reevaluate the case, okay? We prescribed the next medicine. So November 11th, we prescribed the next medicine, which is called Thuya. And I'm going to tell you what led to the prescription of this medicine. This is a big medicine, indicators being it's a big medicine for autism. Children that tend to react good to this medicine tend to have some type of growth on their body, some type of mole, some type of skin tag, some type of growth, okay? This child had one at that young age. It was one of the key indicators for this medicine, and especially a medicine that changes have occurred in that child suspected after vaccinations, 1 to 4 weeks after vaccinations is another big indicator for this medicine, Thuya. So those things in consideration, fitting the rest of the case, also, we prescribed this medicine. This was November 24th. December 2nd, which was a little bit more than a week later, I talked to the mother on the follow-up, and this was a great medicine, and you could see what happens. She says, what did she say to me? She's 20 to 30% better, the mother said. I said, explain to me what you mean. What's better? The school said she's sitting. She's sitting. She's calmer now. Her tolerance has improved in the house and at school. She's more engaging now. She will be observing mom much better. A 30% improvement, mother said, in less than a week. She's following directions, and when mom asks her something, she understands. So if they said, go get changed, go get dressed, she'll go get dressed. If they tell her to go put your shoes on, she'll put her shoes on. She understands all of a sudden in 7 days off one medicine. There was 2 doses of this medicine given in 1 day. So every 3 days, we gave a dose of this medicine. We don't need a lot of it when it's the right medicine. They said before, she wouldn't sit if they asked her to sit. Now, she's more focused and she's able to sit. She's trying to follow what mom says and what mom asks her to do. So she's understanding, she's responding, and she's understanding better now. The rocking is less now, mom said. She said that spontaneously. The teacher also said this. She was doing an activity at school, and before at school, she would not sit down, the teacher said. She would rub things all over her mouth and rub things all over her. And she would never actually do an activity with everybody. That improved. She's doing that now. The rubbing things all over her mouth and her face has reduced. When she's sitting, she's able to sit longer. She was doing this strange little gesture, and this medicine actually had this strange little symptom, but she was clicking her tongue like this as she's walking around back and forth. We don't know why she's doing it. There was nothing on her tongue. This medicine actually had that strange gesture of clicking of the tongue, believe it or not. So that actually improved 40% in 7 days. 40% improvement, which is really good. She had it for 2 months. The tantrums, listen to this, the mood and the behavior changed. There was a calmness that came over this child, okay? A natural calm. This is the true person that unfolds when a proper homeopathic medicine is given. It's not a changing of the child, it's the true child coming out, okay? The tantrums are less. It's just once a day now. No more meltdowns. Before seeing me, it was 4 to 5 times a day. Even the duration of this tantrum she has once a day now is much shorter. Before, it would last at least 10 to 15 minutes. Now it's 5 to 8 minutes long. So this is just 1 week. And, you know, these things are not over. This is months and months of work we have to get together, you know, to be in a very, very good place. But this is what 7 days can do on a proper prescription. Now remember, we were on a wrong prescription before, or a prescription that wasn't perfect. There wasn't much change. So then she told me about communicating. She started communicating better. She had these words, but they went away the last 2 months. She'll randomly say things now. She's humming rhymes. She's coming in looking at what they're eating. She's observing everything she wasn't observing before. This is one of those kids that were kind of in their own world a lot of the times. She's observing things now. When they have food on their plate, she's looking to see what it is. She's interested. Rocking side to side is 40% improved. What else did she say? She's exploring things. She's opening containers to see what's in them. She's more aware of her surroundings. Now she grabs mom's hand, takes her to the bathroom to go there, and she never did this before. She's aware when she's still in pull-ups. She's aware when she has to go to the bathroom, and she goes. So there you go. That was the first follow-up. We continued the medicine. A week later, we had another follow-up. There was further improvements. Some others sending me a ton of videos, and I get all the parents to send me videos of what's going on so we could see the difference. At school, the child's interacting with other children. They're interacting with activities at school, not sitting by themselves. Eye contact's better. Speech has increased, more words with speech, and et cetera, et cetera. This video has already gone 60 minutes. I don't want to keep going, but you could just see wrong prescription, very little changes or no changes at all. That was carcinosin that we gave this child. Thuya, reevaluating the case, given another medicine that better fits the case, you see drastic changes. And these will be long-term changes. This will not go away once we stop the medicine. That's not homeopathy. Homeopathy is permanent changes. So this has been super long. I'm sorry. I try to make these videos short, but I tend to talk a lot because I want to explain to you guys everything that happened. But this is what's possible. Not every case is going to react in 7 days. Some take a month, some take a month and a half. But when we hit the right medicine, you usually see changes within 7 days. Okay. So this is what is possible. These cases are not hopeless. Things can change. It's not a lifelong thing that they're going to have. So never give up hope. God bless you guys. And I hope this helps you guys. Thank you.